Go ahead.
Hi, Naill Quinlan. I'm getting ready for the Spring Classic 2012 in Waterford. 5 weeks from today, I'll be competing in the senior over 90 kg heavyweight class. I'm delighted to have Irish Muscle here with me today, and we're going to go through a little bit of preparation, what I'll be eating. We'll be training legs later on, and basically talking about what it takes to get ready for a competition and prepare yourself. So at the moment, I'm going to have a pre-workout meal, which consists of this 1 whole egg, 3 egg whites, 120 grams of tuna and 100 grams of chicken. I normally eat a lot later in the day, but because when we're doing legs we train a little bit earlier, I find to bring in the tuna rather than just pure chicken is just a little bit easier to digest. Therefore you're not sitting with something as heavy in your stomach before training a big body part like legs. As we all know, a good leg session will upset your stomach a little bit, so it's not good to be carrying too much solid food, I don't think, in your stomach coming up to leg training. Okay, well, as I said, we're going to start eating this very beautiful and appetising meal. I'd much rather be eating something different, but as we all know, you have to make sacrifices if you want to be the best you can be on stage. It's very important to strictly follow your diet, set it out. Any guy thinking of doing competition, we can all train. It's the diet, I think, is the very important part. It's actually saying, you know, I'm going to stick to this, I'm going to do this for 12, 14 weeks, whatever. I'm going to measure and monitor everything I eat. I mean, everything I eat is weighed. I think the scales for your food is nearly more important than the scales for weighing yourself when it comes up to competition, because you need to know exactly what's going into your body. So then you can say, yeah, well, I know what I'm taking in, therefore I know what I need to adjust if I'm not meeting the goals that I'm setting for myself. I think a good weight loss plan is normally about 2 pounds a week, and you should be getting your body fat monitored as well. Then you can ensure, then you know, okay, if I am meeting that goal, then what I'm eating is correct. If you're not, then you can go back and say, okay, maybe I need to drop my rice per meal or my oats in the morning or something like that. At the moment, I'm down to about 300 grams of carbs a day, split evenly over my meals, and it would be involving maybe about 80 grams of oats in the morning. And then about 80 grams of rice, brown rice, on meal 2 and meal 3, and also meal 5, which is after training. Also, directly after training, I'll take a carbohydrate drink with my protein to give me an insulin spike and drive the protein into my muscles. I believe it's important to keep carbs in your diet. Some people do follow a 0 carb plan. I don't think it's the best plan, because you need energy to train. You need carbohydrates to give your muscles that drive and that hardness and the pump you get when you're training. I feel you flatten out too much and you can lose a little bit too much muscle if you don't keep a certain level of carbohydrates in your body. But then you need to monitor them and say, as I said earlier, okay, then I'm not meeting my goal, so therefore I need to adjust. And that's when you can go back to having weighed your food, and you can say, okay, I know, rather than just guesstimating and saying a cup full, you can say, okay, I ate 80 or 90 grams of something, therefore I'm going to pull it back by 5 or 10 grams and see what effect that has on my body. I'm just going to bring in here to show you a couple of my trophies, but before that I just want to say a couple of thank yous to a few people, because people say bodybuilding is an individual sport, but in my opinion it's not, because it's very hard to do it unless you've got a good support network around you. So obviously you need people that are going to be there for you. It's a very tough road to travel on your own. First person I obviously want to say thanks to is Marion, my girlfriend, because I really couldn't do this without her. It's very difficult to diet, and I know I'm not the nicest person to be around when I'm dieting. I'm aware of that, everybody else is aware of that. I'm sure she's aware of it, and she never complains once. And in fairness, I really am a lot better because of the support and the help she gives me. I want to say thanks to Ross, my training partner. He pushes me through every session, really has been in the trenches with me, and we've been there, and no matter what the time of day or what else we have going on in our lives, we always push it in each training session, and it's made a big difference to any improvements I've made have been since I started training with Ross, so I want to say thanks to him for that. Obviously my family, my mum and dad and my brother, and a big thanks to Denny's Gym as well. They can't do enough for me. It's really great to have the support of a fantastic gym behind me. I mean, I may as well have my own key to the place at this stage. They do so much for me and leave me away with so much up there. So guys, that is really appreciated, and to like Luke and Mick and Rob and Anthony up there. Like it's fantastic to have the support. Fantastic gym. I suppose a couple of trophies I want to go through. Your first competition, I suppose, is always the hardest one. And I was lucky enough to win my first timers competition back in 2005, Kieran Sheehy Memorial Championship. It was actually, I don't think there's ever been another competition since where there was a combined NABA and RIBBF judging panel. It wasn't run under any federation's rules or anything like that. So I mean, it was very unusual. It was a charity event, but it was great to obviously win. It's a big thing to enter your first show and to win your first show. Spring Classic, 2006. 6 years later, we're aiming for this again. Unusual because I hadn't even intended entering the Spring Classic in 2006. And I actually went down with a stomach bug, and because of that I lost a lot of water and said, okay, I'm going to compete. Ended up winning, which is amazing. I think the trophy that probably means the most to me is this one. It's a Sports Star of the Year award for bodybuilding. It's for 2006. You're voted in by your fellow bodybuilders. So it's to show that like your peers think enough of you to vote you as the best around, you know, which is fantastic. It's a real humbling achievement for me to have got this, because it's something that, as we all know, bodybuilding is a sport where it's visual. Everybody likes to think they're better than everyone else, so for everybody else to turn around and say, look, we think you're the one that should, you know, get this, it was an amazing achievement for me. A couple of others, 2 years ago I went back into Spring Classic again, just kind of whim sort of thing, into a very tough heavyweight class against Scobie and Huey, and I came third. I have to say a big thanks as well to Huey and Superior Nutrition for everything he does for me, the supplements he sends and his knowledge and everything like that. As we all know, like Huey is double Mr. Ireland at the moment, and to have a guy like him behind me means an awful lot. And then my last two, my novice NABA and the South Coast Classic was another big one as well. So just in terms of the training patterns I follow in that, at the moment, it's obviously cardio every morning for an hour on an empty stomach to use stored body fat as fuel. Do that Monday to Friday. Monday nights then it's shoulders and triceps and another half an hour cardio. Tuesday is back and traps and a half an hour cardio. Wednesday is cardio, Wednesday evening is cardio. Thursday chest and biceps, and surprisingly enough cardio. And Friday evening is cardio again. Saturday today is the one day we take off cardio because it's legs. I believe you need to have your legs a little bit rested. It's a good excuse not to do cardio. We push it very heavy in the legs then on Saturday. Die of death on the couch there Saturday night, and then back up for cardio again Sunday morning. And it's a lot, but I believe, like, you know, if you're going to do it, you've got to do it to the best of your ability. And which is why I said, like, the support of people behind you means an awful lot then, because people understand, like, this is very important to you. If you're going to do it, you're really putting a lot into it, a lot of effort, a lot of sacrifice, and the people around you are making a lot of sacrifice as well, which is what I think we all should keep sight of. And I always say to any young guys that come to me for advice coming up, like, I mean, don't ever lose sight of other things in your life as well. Like, bodybuilding is brilliant, but it's part of your life, it's not your whole life. So when you're going to do it, put everything into that, but then also be aware of the sacrifices people around you make, and make sure you make that up to them and thank them for what they've done for you, you know. It's very important to remember that. The training protocol I follow then is a basic, very basic, beyond failure, high intensity, based around the Dorian Yates, Mike Menzer type training, where we use maybe a couple of warm-up sets and one all-out set, where we take in force reps and negatives, and we take it beyond failure. We don't do a huge amount of volume. Say for chest, for example, a body part like chest, the total amount of sets we work is 7, and only 3 of those are actual working sets. So I mean, you have 3 sets, say, on incline bench, but it's your third set is your big set where you're going to failure, and then you're getting 2 or 3 spotted reps. At that stage you're warmed up, so you're going to say chest press, you just need your 2 sets, and again the second one is taken beyond failure. Then a couple of sets of flies, and again the second one taken beyond failure, and that's your chest done. People say, you know, oh, how can you do so little? But it's not so little, it's doing what you need to do. It's pushing yourself into the depths of where the muscle has no choice but to grow to adapt to the pressure you're putting on it. Also, I feel you're not holding back then to say like, okay, I know I have 10 or 11 or 12 sets to go there for like a better, you know, hold myself back a little bit and hold myself back a little bit. When you're doing this, you know, like, okay, it's in, bang, business, down to business, and you're out, you know. That's, I believe it's worked for me, it's worked for my training partner. We've both made huge gains and achievements, particularly in what we would have termed our weaker body parts. It's worked for us. I mean, we're going to train legs today. It would have been a weak body part for me in the last year and a half. I've put 4 inches on my thighs through following this training protocol, you know, and to me, it's what works for me. People say it's old school or whatever. I believe the old school is, it's the reason their old school is there is because it's been around forever, is because it works, you know. It's, if you look at the champions over the years, they all follow this heavy, hard training style, you know. Okay, just going to talk a little bit about diet and the diet protocol we follow both off season and contest preparation. Again, I'm just going with what works for me. Obviously, coming up to contests, you're going to be eating a lot cleaner, a lot leaner than you would be off season. Although I believe that too many people eat too much junk food or off diet food in the off season sometimes and say they're bulking, which just leaves, I think, with more to lose when it comes up to competition time. The basic diet plan I follow at the moment is obviously after cardio in the morning, about 20 minutes after I finish my cardio, I have my breakfast, which is made up of 80 grams of oats, 20 grams of raisins, just cooked in water, and then I have a smoothie which is all prepared from the night before. There's 300 ml of pasteurized egg whites, 2 bananas, 1 tablespoon of peanut butter, 2 tablespoons of ulos oil, a spoon of glutamine, and a scoop of myofusion protein. I believe the myofusion is a very good type of protein to use. It's blended, it's time release, so you're not all getting a kick at once. And also the egg whites are bringing in a solid food source into your morning meal as well. I also have my vitamins in the morning, which is a multivitamin, cod liver oil. I take calcium and magnesium, and I believe that echinacea is very important, and vitamin C, because when you're dieting, your immune system can drop a little bit. So therefore, the worst thing that can happen to you is to get a cold or a flu or something when you're trying to push your body as hard as anybody that's getting ready for competition is. Next meal then is maybe 2.5 hours later, will be 80 grams of wholemeal rice and 200 grams of chicken breast. I have the same meal again. As we all know, dieting is very exciting. About another 2.5 hours later, so you're talking about maybe 1:30, so you're finishing that about 2 o'clock. Then about 4 o'clock, I'd have a whey protein shake, 2 scoops of myofusion. About 45 minutes after that, then I have my pre-trainer, my 1MR. I think it's good just to get you focused, and it just gives you that little bit of extra drive to kick in for training. I'll have a caffeine tablet with that as well, to try and give me just that little energy boost coming up to training. Leave that kick in for about 15 minutes, so just drink that before you head to the gym. Basically, by the time you get to the gym, it's kicked in. Train the body part, whatever you're training. Finish your weight training, take some amino acids, do your cardio, your 30 minutes cardio. Again, then I have a post-workout shake. It's 70 grams of carbs, 30 grams of protein. Good ratio, I think, to take in. It's just sort of just over 2 to 1. Again, you need the carbs, the simple carbs, to give that insulin spike and drive the protein into the muscles so that it'll suck them up when they're repairing. About an hour to an hour and a half after that, then I have 250 grams of salmon, another 80 grams of wholemeal rice, and 100 grams of green beans. And then pre-bed, I'll have 300 ml of egg whites, 2 scoops of myofusion, a spoon of glutamine, a spoon of peanut butter, and 2 spoons of ulos oil. Again, no carbs before bed, but I believe you need the fats to digest the protein slowly. And again, you've got the time release protein, which is keeping your body a little bit anabolic during the night. And again, it's back up again in the morning then, and do it all over again. It's Groundhog Day. On Sundays then, Sunday evenings is my cheat meal day. Again, when I say cheat meal, it could be something quite clean, like it could be maybe having a steak rather than salmon, and a baked potato, and maybe a little bit of a little bit of mayonnaise or something with that, or a little bit of pepper sauce or something like that. Because I believe some people can use the cheat as an excuse to overspill and, you know, eat cakes and biscuits and that type of thing. I'm not a fan of it, because I feel that once you start getting the taste for it, then it's very hard to come down off it again the next day, you know. Like, I think, as I keep stressing, it's 12 weeks, it's a long 12 weeks, but if you're going to do it, you really do it properly, because I like, there's two kind of pains. There's the pain of discipline and there's the pain of defeat. I think the pain of discipline is a little bit less than the pain of defeat. The worst thing you can do is get up on stage and say, you know, I shouldn't have had that cake, or I shouldn't have had that couple of pints that night or something like that. Again, like, I don't drink alcohol anyway, but alcohol is a no-no again when you're dieting, because of all the empty calories inside in it. Again, it's just getting yourself into the mindset of saying, I know this is what I can have. Again, the worst thing you can do then is get onto other people's case for wanting to have a life around you. You have to realise that this is your choice to do this. It's your choice to eat this bland food, to push your body this way. I mean, as I said, I'm very lucky with Marion, because she won't eat rubbish in front of me. She doesn't eat it anyway, but people have to remember that when you call to your mother's house, she's quite entitled to have her a cup of tea and her biscuit. You know, you can't be looking and say, you shouldn't be eating that in front of me. You know, it's your choice to do this. But again, there's no rule saying that you have to be down in the dumps and depressed and cranky, because that's the way a lot of people go around. Again, I attribute that to zero carbs. I believe if you keep carbs in, keep them to a sensible level, train hard, and do your cardio, then you should be okay. It's your own choice then, I think. You should know when you're feeling the pain of the diet, and that's when you say, okay, look, give me 10 minutes here, I'm just going to go into this room here just to chill myself out, you know. Like, I believe the diet is the hardest part. It's very important. I mean, both on and off season. If you're off season, everybody can train. The enthusiasm, a lot of young guys come up, the enthusiasm for the gym is there, and they'll write training logs and training diaries, but how many of them sit down and say, okay, how many calories am I taking in at the moment? Am I gaining or losing weight? What's my total calorie intake? What do I need to add in to gain quality weight? You know, it's like, it's a triangle, I think, of training, nutrition and recovery. That's what makes up having a good physique. Take one of those out and the other two will suffer. So I think, like, even off season, you should say, look, eat well, eat as much nice good food as you can. Okay, enjoy yourself, go out for your meals, whatever, but, you know, don't say, okay, I'm bulking, so every night I'm going to have a packet of biscuits and 2 cakes after my dinner, you know, which is what I see. Or, you know, again, eating too much junk food or whatever. It's only going to have to come off if you decide to compete anyway. So I think it's not the right thing to do. You should eat clean, you know, monitor your calories, understand your diet, understand your body, how your body reacts to carbs and protein. Like, I can tell you how many grams of protein I eat when I need to grow, but that may not work for you or anybody else, because your body may be more insulin sensitive. Big part of bodybuilding is understanding your own body and how it reacts to food and training. So therefore, I'd say, like, keeping a training log is important, but also keeping a nutrition log when you're starting out is very important. I mean, when you get the rewards for what you do, you'll enjoy it even more. So, you know, if you eat properly, it can lead to you training harder, having a better physique, and that's where a lot of guys fall down, I think, is they have all the enthusiasm in the world towards training, but they're not eating regularly enough, or they're not eating well enough, or they're saying, you know, they're going to the gym but they're forgetting they need to eat after that. And I see guys go 7-8 hours without eating and wondering why they're not, you know, making their gains, and you're saying, like, well, there's your answer, you just answered your own question, sort of thing, you know. And that's kind of my take on diet.